So, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And it's so funny because Denise said that after her prayer, this day might as well be over, and she's entirely right. Because my talk is about how you change your life and the life of those around you just by not only loving, but by stepping up.
Wow.
And by being in action. So thank you. Let's go have donuts. Because just her idea, let's be loving, let's pray, and then let's go out there and do something. Let's just make something positive happen for somebody beneath us. So that is such a wonderful example of what we are. And it makes me just so proud of everybody in this room and everybody who's part of this community who is not in this room. Thank you so much. I'm proud of you. So today, as I've just said, we're continuing our series on love in action. And what I want to focus on today is each of you as a change agent, as a game changer, which is frankly a word I love. And as a powerful and effective actor, just able to go out and with your own actions make a difference in the world, in your world and in the lives of those around you. Each of us right now, sitting right here, can do those things, I think, as Denise just demonstrated, and as you all demonstrate when you go out and make the changes and do the things that you do. So the message I would like you to take away today is a very simple one. And this is what it is. Each of you is called and each of you is able to be a force that changes the world, your world, and the world of those around you in a significant way. Right now. No matter your age, your gender, your abilities, your disabilities, it doesn't matter. We are each able and willing to do that right now. You have all you need to make a unique difference in the world. And nobody can make your difference but you. If you choose not to do it, the world will be a poorer place. You are, each of you, game changers. Back to that word that I love. So as I was preparing this talk, I came across a book by an engineer and an entrepreneur named Mary Spio. Her book is entitled, quote, "It's Not Rocket Science, 7 Game-Changing Traits for Uncommon Success." It's a great, I recommend it to you. It's a wonderful book. Her book is full of stories, beginning with hers, of people who realized their vision despite discouragement, lack of money, lack of resources, lack of extraordinary talent, lack of opportunity, derision from family and friends, and life circumstances that seem to suggest that the very last thing that would happen to them was success, or the realization of their vision. She calls herself an internet entrepreneur, a deep space engineer, which I love, that sounds so cool, a deep space engineer, and a game changer. She wrote her book to tell each of us that we can do the same as she did. No special talents required. No money required, no nothing other than what we are. So let me tell you a little bit about her story, because it's pretty inspiring. She was born in Syracuse, New York, to parents from Ghana in West Africa. When she was a young child, her family returned to Ghana, where in 1981 the country was overrun by a coup d'etat. Her life radically changed. She remembers soldiers roaming the streets with machine guns. She remembers parents of friends being taken away and executed by firing squad. And she remembers many nights going hungry with no food in the house. It was a dangerous and a frightening and a very uncertain existence. She described herself in childhood as a poster child for Feed the Children. She said the only toy she had was a stick, which actually she regards now as good news because it powered her imagination. But it was a very difficult childhood. However, one of the things the family did have was a small black and white TV set. And on that TV set, she was captivated by stories about space exploration and technology. She wrote, "I remember feeling the vibration of pure joy activated within me when I caught glimpses of vast, unknown worlds. It started the fires of hope burning inside me. My dreams were calling, and I developed a sense of urgency to find out more about the life I had seen inside of that little box." I just love the energy in this description. I can almost see her sitting in front of this little black and white TV, just captivated by images of deep space, thousands of miles away, so far beyond her grasp, but which she refused to believe was beyond her grasp. That hope, that ability to just know, even though you don't know how to get there, that your future is out there somewhere, and all you need to know how to do is find it, reflects the passion and the focus that I think is behind any real achievement, that is behind any impact we make on the world, no matter how large. The vision and the passion and the focus to go out there and make your vision into reality. So her life as a game changer began in front of that little black and white TV. Those images fired her imagination, one of the most powerful forces known to us. Einstein said that imagination is more important than knowledge. Now this is Einstein, who we would think would be quite in favor of knowledge. But imagination is more important than knowledge. He also said that logic will get you from A to B, but imagination will take you anywhere. Isn't that great? Don't you remember as a kid just feeling all fired up about stuff you imagined, stuff you were going to do? Yep. And just being in the confines of your little room and just thinking, man, there's a whole world out there and I'm going to do it. How many little first graders or fourth graders do you know who say, I'm going to be president, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that? And they know it because their imagination and their vision are taking them where? Taking them there. Imagination is the energy inside of us that turns ideas into form. It takes the ideas and the images that we see and marries them up with our own potential, our own abilities, and our own inspiration. And the results can be amazing when that takes place. Mary Spio didn't just see those images on the TV and say, well, I can do that. She saw them and she said, I can start there. I can do that and I can do more. I'll start there, but I'll do so much more. And then it just started spinning out about all the different things she was going to do. Albert Einstein said, imagination is everything. It's the preview of life's coming attractions. Isn't that great? It's the preview of life's coming attractions. So, the title of her book, remember, is The 7 Steps. Imagination was her first step. She gave 7 steps, and we can talk about them on Wednesday when we come to groups, all 7. I'm going to talk about a couple here today. But she gave 7 attributes that she regards as the qualities of a game changer, and imagination, or what she called unbridled curiosity, is absolutely the first. So that fire stayed with her. When she was 16, she said she begged her parents to let her return to the United States. So they said, sure. So she gets on a plane at the age of 16 and traveled back alone to the United States. She lived with a host family until she graduated from high school, at which point the host family says, okay, you graduated, time to go back to Ghana. Guess what? She didn't want to go. She said, no way. So the night after graduation, in the middle of the night, she leaves the house, she gets on a bus, and she goes to New York City. She is 17 years old, all by herself. I'm out of here. My future's in New York. It's not in Ghana. When she arrived at Grand Central Station, all by herself, she says, she looked around at all the different trains going different places. She did eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and ended up on a train to Brooklyn. Wow. Think about that. Wow. She ended up on a eeny, meeny, okay, I'm going to Brooklyn. No idea what that was. There she goes. Over the months that followed, she just scratched her way up. She worked in a McDonald's as a fry cook, and she saw an ad on TV for the Army, and she went down to join. However, as she was walking down to the Army, she sees this really good-looking Air Force recruiter right in front of her, and she said, I think I like the Air Force. And so she joined the Air Force. And she was trained in satellite communications and wideband technology. She did very well. She was selected for advanced programs. And after the Air Force, she obtained advanced degrees in engineering and deep space communications. Wow. Seriously! This is a kid who was in Ghana playing with a stick. And here she is getting out of the Air Force, going and getting advanced degrees in these amazingly advanced technological fields. She started several successful companies. She invented and patented several technological innovations, which I can't even understand or pronounce. And she became a vision of what drive and belief and unwavering commitment can accomplish. For her, failure was simply not an option. Never crossed her mind. Now, her story made me think about failure. It just made me kind of think about the notion of failure. Did everything run smoothly for her? I'm guessing not. No, it did not. Did she have setbacks? She absolutely did. But she didn't regard them as an invitation to a full stop. She didn't regard them as failures, and perhaps that's what makes the difference. So let's think a little bit about failure. Failure is a judgment that somebody makes. Sometimes we make it, sometimes people make it for us. That we are on the wrong track and we need to just stop. We need to reroute. Sometimes that is not the right lesson. Remember Thomas Edison and his story about the light bulb? How many times did he fail? 10,000 times? Did he give up? He said no. He said, I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that don't work. I mean, think about that. I would be standing here in the dark if he had gotten to 5,001 and said, oh, God, my wife is bored, my kids are saying time to stop, let me go do something else. I think I'm going to go be, I don't know what, a postal worker, who knows. But he didn't, because he just kept finding ways that didn't work, but every single one taught him something else he needed to know about what would work. So think about what we define as failure. How do we define it? How do you know when it's time to stop? What do you tell yourself when you have a dream and a vision and it's just not working out and you're just not there yet? What goes through your mind before you say, I give up? It's time to just call it quits. What goes through the mind of people who say, no, I'm not going to call it quits? I bet Eliza, when she was writing her book, had some setbacks, had some questions, had some doubts. There's a book out there and she's going to go sign it because she didn't stop. And think, Asha singing at Hard Rock Cafe, I know for a fact she had doubts and fears. We all went down Thursday and had a fabulous time. She was wonderful. And so was Paul, by the way. So let's think about what makes us stop. The flip side of that is what makes us keep going. What is the passion, the fire, when we have a vision that makes us know that it is the right thing to keep going on? Those are good questions to consider. Look at examples in history. Let's look at Jesus, the great teacher. By all accounts, he was a spectacular failure in his lifetime. He didn't have a steady job. He lived off the charity of others. He had no fixed address. He had no respect in his own hometown. And he was executed as a criminal. Those are not good signs. His followers were not numerous. After he died, they went into hiding. They were hunted down and executed. There were not a great many of them. However, I think that we would all agree, as we sit here today and as we look around, that his movement caught on. But back then, it was not looking so good. So sometimes we don't know where our efforts will lead. We don't know who will pick up the thread of what we are doing and continue with it to change lives. Nelson Henderson said, the true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. We plant trees, Nelson Henderson, under whose shade you do not expect to sit. I just love that. In his book, Treasures of the Transformed Life, John Ed Matheson, he tells the story of a pastor named Samuel Wesley. Okay, stop thinking about you should know who Samuel Wesley is, because nobody does. None of us have heard of Samuel Wesley. However, he had 19 kids and he lived in a rather small house, so his house was packed. He was a pastor. So what did he have to do? He had to pray. He had no place to pray. So he would just settle down in the living room and pray right there, with kids and dogs and God knows what all the way around him. So 2 of his kids were named John and Charles. You have heard of John and Charles. John Wesley was the founder of the Methodist Church. Charles Wesley wrote about 9,000 hymns and poems. And their lives were changed because as they sat at home trying to, do something else, their father was in the corner praying, and they listened and they picked it up, and their lives were different because he did. Did he do it because he knew that they would turn out to be John and Charles Wesley? I'm guessing not. He did it because he knew it was the right thing to do for him, and it made a huge difference in their lives. So, let me talk a little more about another attribute that Mary Spio identified. The first is imagination. This is another fun thing she said about imagination, or unbridled curiosity. She said it's the place where ideas are born, the seeds of vision are planted, problems are solved, and change begins. Imagination creates a future not based on what is known, but what is possible. Think of those stories. It creates a future based on what is possible. Now, her book is not a spiritual one. I don't remember her mentioning God or spirit or the divine. She doesn't make any claims about the hand of the divine in any of these transformation stories. But for me, I can easily believe that when we respond to the voice of imagination, when something fires within us, for me, that is the voice of the divine calling to us to step up to our potential, to step up to our gifts, to say, this is yours to do, whether you feel ready for it or not. So the next attribute she calls radical passion. Isn't this great? Radical passion. About this, she writes that passion is the spark that ignites game-changing creativity, audacity, compassion, tenacity, focus, and drive. It is the rocket fuel, I love the way this woman thinks, that launches dreams, a powerful force that guides game changers, thoughts, actions, and ultimately their lives. Radical passion. So her passion was technology and deep space. So let's just take a moment or a week or whatever and think about what is yours. What is your passion? What makes you know this is why you got up in the morning? Now, she says that your passion is not necessarily what you like to do. A lot of times we say, well, what is it you like to do? She says she likes to dance. She likes to go out and dance. Does that mean she wants to join the New York City Ballet? No. She's not going to put in the dedication and the effort and the hours to do that, so she knows that's not her passion. Her passion is what she is willing to avoid distractions in order to do. What she knows she is here to do. That is her passion, and for her it's technology and it's innovation, and now it's speaking and telling people that they can follow their passions. It's not a shiny object. It's not just stuff we like to do. It is deeper, it is more radical, it is more profound and deep than that. So, are you living your passion now? Even if you can't quit your job and go do something truly 24/7. Is it something that you live toward every day? Is there something that you are doing to fulfill that question of why do you get up in the morning? What gives you joy? What propels you into action? Is that something that you are doing every day? Your passion can be anything. It can be exercising extraordinary kindness to others. It can be creating an environment of beauty and peace. It can be loving friends and family. It doesn't have to be something that is going to land you on the front of CNN. It can be something that your gifts, and only your gifts, best address. A loving and healthy community is made up of the diverse efforts of all of us. Sometimes we make many lives better, sometimes just one. And I know for a fact that all of us can remember somebody who made our lives better, who will never have a Wikipedia entry, right? Mine was a teacher I had in 6th grade. My sister's sitting back there. She's going to know this lady. She was in arithmetic. We called it arithmetic back then. I don't know if they still do. Her name was Miss Deakins. I know you remember Miss Deakins. So, from 5th to 6th grade, I was failing arithmetic. Those of you who know me, this will not surprise you. I was failing arithmetic, and she spent the entire summer tutoring me at the school for free. She would bring in this thing of delicious lemonade, just for nothing, just give it to me and tutor me in arithmetic for nothing. Her passion was teaching kids, for letting them know that they could succeed and that she was going to help them do it. Her passion was just lifting up kids. So she was just a wonderful person. I'll tell you a little story. I remember one day she had us all sitting around. Now she was very old back then, which means that she was probably my age. How life changes. Okay, so she has us all sitting around, and she is telling a story. This was in New York. She's telling a story of growing up in New York. In the South. She's from the South. And she had a sister, a younger sister, that she said was just very pretty. And so she's telling this story about her younger sister who was very pretty. And I looked at her and I said, Miss Deakins, were you ever pretty? I was just interested. I know, now she had a choice at that point. She could say that I was incredibly rude. She could call me out for being inconsiderate and rude and whatever the heck I was, which I was. But she didn't. She just fell out. She thought it was so funny. And she didn't make me feel bad. She just thought it was an incredibly ingenious thing to say. I just wanted to know. She didn't make me feel bad. She didn't make me feel strong. And she could, small, and she could have made me feel all those things. Her kindness, her example, and her caring makes me remember her as a pivotal person even today, decades later. Her influence on my life changes the way I deal with others. It changes me. I am different because I knew her and because I had that example. And if you Google Ruth Deakins, are you going to get an entry? I'm guessing not. But it doesn't matter, because we never know where that circle is going to go. When we drop in that little stone, we never know what the impact of that is going to be. We stand, each of us, on the shoulders of thousands of people that we have never heard of. People who made a huge difference with nobody watching, and nobody recording, and nobody putting it on Facebook. Because we are so media saturated, we tend to think that the only game changers are the ones who end up on the news or who end up in People magazine, and nothing could be further from the truth. Our world is changed by millions of people who just get up and keep doing what it is they do with no recognition and no reward. Remember that quote we had a couple of weeks ago from William Blake? If you want to do good, you need to focus on the minute particulars right in front of you, and not start thinking you're going to be making a global change. Just start where you are, staying focused, staying engaged with what is directly in front of you. Mary Spio writes of a discussion between Oprah Winfrey and Eckhart Tolle in the show Oprah and Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth. Did anyone see that? I didn't see that. But it was a discussion that they had. In that show, Eckhart Tolle said, so many people have this idea, I want to achieve something great or be someone great, he tells Oprah. And they neglect the step that leads to greatness. They don't honor the step, this moment, because they had this idea of some future moment when they are going to be great. The foundation for greatness, Tolle said, is honoring the small things of the present moment. Honoring the small things of the present moment. For example, he says he didn't write a book because he got up one morning and decided he wanted to alter world consciousness. He wrote a book because he just wanted to say what was in his heart. He just put pen to paper and started writing. He says it's all a sequence of very small moments. By being true to the small moment, something great arises. Don't you find that to be true in your own life? By being true to the present moment, the specific moment, great things arise. So the next attribute she talks about is active compassion. I love radical passion, active compassion. Don't you just get an energy from that? Active compassion. For her, compassion is action. She calls it the heart to love and the courage to respond. That's what Denise just said. When she said, let's just not say a prayer for this lady, let's stand up and buy her what she needs. Let's start a fund, let's put a bucket out there and buy her a new guitar. That is active compassion. It calls us to get up, to get out, and somehow make a difference for others. It starts with love and it moves into beneficial action. She tells the story of a woman named Jessica Jackley, who started an organization named Kiva, which is Swahili for unity. Has anybody heard of this? It's kiva.org. Kiva is you have heard of it, Linda? It's Swahili term for unity. Kiva is a nonprofit organization that permits people around the world to make microloans to those in the developing world attempting to build a business, to what she calls budding entrepreneurs. Jessica had wanted to do something to help people since she was a child, but she hadn't quite figured out her niche. But then she heard a talk by a guy named Dr. Mohammed Yunus on microfinance. Have y'all heard of microfinance? It's taking a little bit of money and making a huge difference in places where 25 or 50 bucks will make a huge difference. So what did she do? It fired her imagination, just like that black and white TV for Mary Spio. So what did she do? She quit her job and she moved to East Africa to learn about the need for microfinancing in that area. She got back. She and her husband combined her newfound knowledge with his technical expertise, and they started an online microfinance platform called kiva.org. I went on the website. She has financed spinach farmers in Cambodia, a hot dog stand in Nicaragua, a cobbler in Kenya, and a beekeeper in Ghana. I saw that 1.6 million have loaned to 2.2 million budding entrepreneurs in 82 countries. And you can make a loan as low as $25. These are not gifts, these are loans. Their repayment rate is 97.2%. And they are changing lives around the world. One of the slogans on their website is, "Dreams are universal, opportunity is not." Isn't that true? Dreams are universal, but opportunity is not. Active compassion leads us to make a difference for others, local or global. Kiva did not start with the requirement that it expand to 82 countries or reach 2.2 million entrepreneurs. They just started with the vision to do what they could to help. They moved out of love, past fear. They didn't let fear stop them. They just kept going. What's the definition of courage? Is somebody who keeps standing for just 5 minutes longer. You just keep moving. When you have that vision and you think you can do it. I know when Jessica Jackley quit her job, she got a lot of input that she was probably not. Can you just envision that call to her parents? Quitting her job and going to East, Mom, Dad, Africa, East Africa. No, it'll really be good. It'll work out. It's okay. Just imagine. I wouldn't want to be the other end of that phone call. Remember that Charles Fillmore said, when we act out of love, love is the magnet that draws our good out of the universe. When you act like these people did, with love and conviction, the universe responds. That is not in the book, but we see it happening time after time after time. When you step out, the universe is going to support you in that vision. Love is the source of manifestation. And it was for Mary Spio, for Jessica Jackley, and others who manifest their heart's vision. When you step out like that, you align yourself with the universe as it channels the good through you to bring your gifts to fruition. So reading these stories, I saw one other thing. I saw that these game changers didn't decide that somebody else was better for the job. They didn't sit back and say, well, that's not really mine to do. I'm sure other people are more talented. They have more money. They have more time. They're not as busy as I am. They don't have the following limitations on their lives. They didn't pass it off to somebody else. Don't we often do that? Don't we often say, it's just not for me, it's for someone else. It's a really good thing to do, but it's not for me. I can't do that. I have a quote, I just love it. The author is unknown, but it captures the limitations that we put on ourselves by thinking we're not the right people. The quote is, it's not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not. It's who you think you are not. So that's another thing to think about. Who do we think we're not? What do we think are the limitations holding us back? Because it's illusory. We are putting them on ourselves, and they are born of fear and doubt. True accomplishment and true change happens when we say, yes, that is in my mind. I acknowledge it. But then you just let it go. We don't let our fears stop us. We don't let them call that full halt that failure is. There's a great quote from Zen master Shunryu Suzuki who said about these thoughts of fear and doubt. Leave your front door open and your back door open. Allow your thoughts to come and go. Just don't serve them tea. Don't make it hospitable for them. Just acknowledge them as they come in and let them go, because your vision is stronger than that. Your ability to change your world is stronger than that. Don't put cookies and cakes and a nice dinner out for your fears. It's time for them to go. So let me close with a quote from Rebbe Menachem Schneerson. I love this quote. For hundreds of years, perhaps since the beginning of creation, a piece of the world has been waiting for your soul to purify and repair it. And your soul, from the time it first emanated and was conceived, waited above to descend to this world to carry out that mission. And your footsteps were guided to reach that place. And you are there now. We're there now. So let's take these thoughts into meditation.